So at the end of July this summer, my family and I took a trip to Savannah, Georgia. It had been the second time my husband and I went, but we actually took all of our kids with us this year. I'd always wanted to go back. The last time we were there was, I think it was like 2010 when I was pregnant with my twins. And so now we went there and experienced Savannah with all of the family, and it was great. And while we were there doing all the touristy things, I came up with a story that I wanted to write, and Savannah is the backdrop of it. And it is called VooDoo You Love, Spellbound in Savannah. I wrote the first episode of this one while I was at a music festival in August, and I have not had time really to work on it since then because I have 3 other stories that I'm currently doing. So this one kind of has taken a back seat to the other ones, but I still really, really want to focus on this one when I get all my other stories completed. So I want to read the first episode of this one. I'm going to do the synopsis, and then I'm going to do chapter 1. These episodes don't actually have titles to them like my other stories. I'm just putting them on as they come to me. So VooDoo You Love, Spellbound in Savannah. After being unlucky in love, Harlow Evans decides to leave everything behind with visions of starting her own business in the most haunted city in the U.S., Savannah, Georgia. After discovering the perfect, charming Victorian house for her mystical-themed shop, Harlow is well on her way to making her dreams a reality. Until the home's previous tenant makes it clear he is displeased with Harlow's presence and practices. In fact, he vows that Harlow will only be successful over his dead body. Okay, here is episode 1. Oh, I do have titles to this. Okay, see, it's been a while since I've checked this one out. Episode 1 is called Starting at the Bottom. How much do you want for the skull? Hearing the question, Harlow Evans pushed a stray lock of her brunette hair out of her face and glanced up from her crouched position behind the booth. She had been busy digging through her various boxes, attempting to locate her inventory of white sage smudge sticks in order to restock her display. So far, her efforts had been futile. She was harried. She admitted it to herself as she held back a frustrated groan at being interrupted. But she put on her best customer service smile and stood up to address the man perusing her items. The River Street Market in Savannah was packed with tourists in the height of the humid July heat. Normally, Harlow thrived in the hustle and bustle of the open-air market, enthusiastically greeting all the men, women, and children that passed through the large wooden structure, built right next to the river that separated Georgia from South Carolina. Ever since she had made the admittedly rash decision to sell everything she owned and uproot her whole life to move from a small town in Wyoming to the picturesque, historic city of Savannah, Harlow had made a point every day to be grateful for her success at the booth she was able to secure at the far end of River Street. In fact, her booth, boasting all things mystical in nature, had been so profitable in the year she had been in Georgia that Harlow almost had enough money stashed away for a down payment on an actual building to open up a store. With that thought at the forefront of her mind, Harlow's friendly grin widened as she scooped up the novelty skull the customer indicated and flashed the price tag towards him that was located on the bottom of the figurine. This particular one is $20, but you caught me in a generous mood. The man rubbed his chin and raised a curious eyebrow at her, encouraging her to continue. I'll let this item go for $15, and I'll even throw in a crystal of your choice on the house. The man's eyes widened at Harlow, a smile breaking out on his face. Well, I guess I can't refuse that deal. Wrap it up for me. And I'll take one of those black stones, please. Harlow bristled at the guy's obvious ignorance regarding the crystal he pointed at, but she tried her best to hide her irritation as she scooped up the onyx and began carefully wrapping the items. My teenage daughter is kind of in a goth phase right now, the man explained as Harlow rang him up. I think she'll like this stuff. Harlow furrowed her brows, but quickly recovered and laughed lightly as she handed the bag over to the tourist. I'm sure that she'll be happy that you thought of her. The man handed over the money and thanked her, walking off to take a look at the next vendor's booth. Harlow blew out a breath and turned back to searching for the elusive sage bundles. She couldn't wait to finally get her actual business started. It was fine to start out selling all the novelty witchy items in her small booth at the River Street Market, but Harlow was more than ready to move to the next level. Plus, she had settled on moving to Savannah specifically because it was the most haunted city in the United States. The place was literally built upon the dead, and Harlow took the world of the occult seriously. If she was going to be successful with a business dealing in ritualistic magic and sorcery, then the historic southern town was the perfect place to set up shop. All right, again, that is VooDoo You Love, Spellbound in Savannah, episode 1, starting at the bottom. I really, really want to continue this story. I have like the whole story, the whole plot set up in my mind right now about where I want to go with this one. It's just finding the time to actually write it with the Chaos Agent, Ritual of the New World, and Double Crossed still on my plate. So I hope you liked it. And again, check out my Kindle Vella page under J. Eva Lee for all of my story links. I have, I think, currently 7 or 8 stories going on there.